Hi, now it's time that we will understand directives in AngularJS. In my earlier video, I referred to directives and I said that it actually means something something like an attribute when it comes to the elements. Now, before we proceed to explain the directives, I think it is important for you to understand what is a DOM. If you're not already aware of it and if you have done HTML, then I think you should relook at the DOM. So just search Google for DOM in HTML and you'll get a lot of images like this. So if you do an image search, one of those images that I found, this is very simple. What you can see this is that you have the root element as HTML, then you have at the same level head and body. So let me show you in the code. Say for example, this is your HTML code. At the top you have the HTML, then you have the head. In this case I don't have a head, but I have script and body at the same level. Okay, any simple example would actually have that. Yes, you have an HTML and then I have head and the body. So head and body are at the same level, like in this picture, right? In this diagram, you have this head and the body, both are at the same level. Under the head, you have the title or script or a link. These tags can be here. In this diagram, I have only the title, right? If you look at the body, under the body, you can have several tags. You can have a href, a h1, or probably a p tag. So a lot of tags can come in inside the body. And inside each one, you can have another tag. Inside h1, you can have a p tag or the text itself. In a, you can have the text itself, right? So this is what a DOM, this is the document object model. Now the whole stuff is called a document. So any HTML like this one that use file which is when sent to the browser considers the whole file as the document, and this is the root element, the parent one, and then you have the child and child inside it, right? So this is the DOM as such. Now coming back to our understanding of directive. Directives are a special markups in Angular that can make some changes in the DOM, right? That can allow some changes in the DOM. So markers in directives can be for attributes, for element names, for comment. In the simplest case, we'll talk about the attributes. Okay, now what do they do? As I've said that it does attach a special behavior. For example, let me show you this one. For example, if you have the root element and inside that you have, say, the head, okay, and you have the other element as body. Okay, let me not put it here, I'll put it here, the body. And inside body you have, say, two elements here, and one of them is p and the other one is a href anchor tag. Okay, now suppose I want to change the color of the text that is displayed here at runtime. How do you make a color of the text? You put a style, right? You put a style and say text decoration or color. Okay, you put a style and say color. Now I want the color to be changed on a certain case. So if you know CSS, the way we can do is you can put a class when our user mouse over it or clicks on it. So you can have the hover, on hover you can have a class with color, right? So what we can do here is we can change the class whenever the user mouses over it, or when, if suppose there is a button and the user clicks on this button, we call a function, and that function call can be done through an function call like ngClick. ngClick, we'll see that function call in the code. So what I'm trying to say here is we use directives to add some special behavior which otherwise we could have done through JavaScript, right? Let's go ahead and look at a simple code. But before that, I want to tell you that there are some inbuilt directives like ngbind, and we have seen that, right? We have seen ngbind, we have seen ngmodel. We haven't seen ngClass, which we will see. Now, the next thing is we need to understand the term compiler, right? Which we have anyway covered before. Compiler means the process of attaching the directives to the HTML, right? In AngularJS, the compilation means you take the entire template, the HTML, and attach the directives. Now these directives are actually not original to HTML or JavaScript. So it has to relate to your AngularJS file and replace accordingly. Now the reason it is called compilation, because the behavior is similar to what we have compilation of a regular source code into the compile programming languages. So when you compile it, you keep referring recursively and do the process. That's why they call it compiler. So that's the only match. Now let's go ahead and do our directives. We have seen directives like ngapp, init, ngmodel, and the list of directives. The best place for that is you can actually go here in docs.angular.js and look for ng directive. There's a lot of directives that you have. See, we have seen bind, right? We have seen bind. We have seen bind, and we can use is number. Yeah, I think directives in this. Ng href, ng source. Okay, these are very common ones, but all of them can be. Ng bind is what we have used. So you can actually keep referring to the Angular JS document to find more directives. Let's look at an example. We'll look at example 5a in my list. Okay, now I'm using a repeat directive. Let's look at this. I have a simple code, and there's nothing that we should talk about for the top 5 lines. And in the line number 6, you know now it's an Angular app. I'm not giving it a name. That means I have not used any script here to create an Angular app. But I'm initializing a value. I'm initializing a variable with this array. So here we have this set of names in an array, which are all strings in this case. And we go ahead, and what you see new is in line number 9, you see a list item. Inside the unordered list, I'm using only one li. Normally in HTML, you have an li repeatedly, right? You have li every time. Okay, you have to write li every time. Like this. So one list item 1, list item 2, and you have to keep doing it for every line. Like this, right? So instead of doing multiple list items, what we can do is we can use a directive called ngRepeat. Now this is similar to your for loop. This is similar to looping. Now what you're telling is inside li, I have an attribute named ngRepeat. Ng is Angular. Repeat means like it says repeat until. Okay, for x in names. Now names is something that you've already declared. That is a variable for this array, right? But what is x? X you're declaring at runtime at that time. You're not saying that x is a variable. Just go ahead and do like this, like you're saying that names. You did not say var names or something. You're doing it just x. Now this is the syntax. Okay, if you can take a variable x, in is the keyword that tells that it is the loop in, and you have to have an array here. So it will repeat for every element in the array and each iteration. So for the first time it goes, it picks up my name this, then it picks up another name, then in the third iteration it picks the third name, right? And you have this going along. You have x in names. So in the first iteration it will print first name, second name, third name. So but just by using an simple ngRepeat, we can have all the list items presented. So I'll just open it in the live server. Here you see. So I have only one line of code and it repeats 5 times. And even if it's an object of say 100, I don't have to write li many times. Now that is what Angular makes your code very simple. You could have done that using JavaScript, writing a JavaScript separately, but then you have to have an li to be generated, list item to be generated every time. Probably you would do that at the server side, having all the items, li items generated at the server side and sent here. Okay, that's how a simple ngRepeat works. And this is our first directive that we have seen being used as a loop inside here, right? We have seen app, we have seen controller, we have seen init, we have seen bind, but now inside the code we are seeing it ngRepeat. We will have a look at other directives in the next video.